I have one older brother, and he beat me up a lot, so that's why I'm here. When I was 5 years old, 6 years old, I did judo for a couple of years, and then I started playing soccer, and that was not for me. Soccer is not my sport. Baseball player, football player through high school, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Baseball and football. I was a pretty decent baseball player. Football, I was undersized, but I had a pretty good work ethic, so I kind of like was in the middle ground for football. So I was a defensive lineman, and I was 5'6", so I never started a fight, but I didn't walk away from a lot of them. A lot of it was, I guess, pride or not. I didn't want to. I was always told to never let myself be bullied, to not start a fight, but to finish it. And like I said, I had an older brother, and he had some tough friends, so I was the punching bag for a while. So I wasn't like I didn't get into a lot of trouble, but I got into a couple of fights, and I had confidence in that area of being able to handle myself physically. So, and the first fight I ever saw was Dan Severn and Royce Gracie. So, and I was rooting for the wrestler. I didn't think it was violent. I thought that it was just another sport. I was immediately intrigued by it. From there, I mean, when I was younger, I was very much into the WWF. Before it was WWE, any of that stuff. I was into Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, all that stuff. And around the time that I first saw the first few UFCs, I liked Ken Shamrock. He had that build. He looked tough. He would punch a guy, but he would go for submissions too. And then he went into wrestling. So Ken Shamrock was an early influence. And then from Googling his name, I found Frank Shamrock, and then I kind of felt like this is a mixed martial artist. Like, this is what it's all about, is what this guy's doing. So I came down here, and there were like positive male influences. My coaches were just like, they didn't have to take any interest in me. There's all these bad dudes everywhere from the get-go. They were like, come on over, get in the mat, let's start going. So I was able to break out of my own personal box, start getting a little bit of confidence. And then from there, it was just a constant challenge every day. It was a constant challenge, testing myself, testing my will, and that's an addiction in itself, personal addiction, to constantly be pushing yourself and finding what you're capable of. So that's still the draw for me, even now. The first fight, I fought a guy that actually trained at this gym before I was here. He left. We just happened to get matched up on the same card. And I felt like I was kind of representing my gym to a degree. So the pressure and the nerves and being scared, I didn't feel, it was my first fight, so I didn't know about all that. I thought I had to be a tough guy, like, I don't get scared. I kind of had that representing my gym thing right up until through weigh-ins. Pretty much when I was about to walk through the curtain, I thought to myself, oh my God, what am I doing? I heard Jens Pulver say a long time ago, it's like standing in the deep end of a pool, and you have to jump in, and you don't know if you can swim or not, but you got to jump in, and I think that's the perfect way of describing it. And I went out there and I did my thing, and I'd be lying if I say that there wasn't some kind of an addiction with that, the bright lights, the glory of it, getting your hand raised, your friends, your family, people you don't know cheering for you. And the biggest thing is you have all these guys that you sweat and bleed with walking you down to that cage, and they're the first people that you see after you win that fight, and that's a bond that you can't really describe, and you can't understand until you feel it. And once you feel that, it's like it's a fraternity, it's a family, it's a brotherhood, and that's a huge part of it too. Losing is the loneliest feeling in the world, because no matter what kind of support system you have, it's you going in the back, and you're sitting by yourself and you're taking it all in, and you realize, you see these other guys from other teams that are winning, or maybe your teammate won that night, and you didn't. You don't get to be a part of that. You worked for however many weeks or months preparing for that one moment, and you miss out on that one moment. And it's a building block. Losing, I got better from losses than I got from wins. Wins, you get momentum. Losses, you have to go back to the drawing board and figure out, what was I feeling? What was I doing? Where did I go wrong? And that's where your coaches come in. You have a very skewed perception and view of how your fights go, whether you win or lose. There's been times where I've been in a punching exchange and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm losing. And then later on you watch the tape of it and you're like, wow, I was killing the guy. But you don't feel your punches hitting him, you feel his punches hitting you. So your coaches and your teammates say, hey, you you did good here, but you didn't do so good there. We got to work on this. Or you got taken down and you were content to stay in your bag. We got to work your wrestling. That's where they come in. They pick you up when you're down, and they keep you grounded when you're riding high. They keep you right in the middle, humming at a good RPM to really do some work. So fighting for me was both a father and a boot camp mixed into one for me. I wouldn't say I was a punk, but I had no path. I was just kind of interested in everything, bouncing around. Got into maybe a little bit of trouble. I just didn't know what it was to be a man. And you come into a place like this and there's just so many strong personalities. It's like a den of alpha males. And, you know, you kind of see there's a certain respect level amongst everybody, and it's almost impossible to not learn from that, to not absorb some of that respect. It definitely changed me, made me humble, gave me some wisdom, and it gave me like a path, a direct focus. If I stay on this path, it keeps me moving forward no matter what I'm doing. You know, before I would get off my path. I'd be over here and over here and over here, and I didn't know I had to retrace those steps to get back to my path. With something like fighting, you're always here, and it keeps you focused, it keeps your head in the game, and it's a metaphor for life. Fighting, MMA, all this combat sports, it's a giant metaphor for life. So yeah, it definitely changed my life. Yeah, there's a lot of people that lived a lot of things, a lot of life experience in this gym, my coaches, even teammates, and they have all this knowledge, and they're not selfish to keep that knowledge. They'll pass it on to anybody willing to learn, and that's a huge part of being a man. I mean, some people are so insecure that they don't want people to know what they know. They, you know, little tricks with moves or little insight to life. These guys here, my coaches, Daryl and Kent, they're not insecure like that. They pass on the knowledge. If you do something outside that's stupid, they're gonna let you know, hey kid, don't do that. If you're dropping too many F-bombs, they're gonna let you know, hey, you're a smart dude, you know, you're articulate. Lay off the F-bombs a little bit, because inspiring people. And I think a lot of that happened through here. You know, I kind of always thought that I was insignificant. And I'm a drop in the bucket in the entire world. But if you can be an inspiration or a positive figure to one person in one moment, you could change their entire life. And I learned a lot of that through here. That's probably that's my proudest achievement, is the opportunity to inspire somebody. There's days where you could help one person for an hour straight and you still feel bad that you didn't get to this person or that person. My coaches, my teammates, they were all selfless while I was coming up. You know, they'd be injured. You never know that they had injuries. You know, like they could mess up their finger at work and they're still holding mitts for you. You know, it's like small things like that you don't realize at the time, but then later on you're like, oh my God, you know, like these guys are great. So I never thought that I would fight. And then from there, I never thought that I would have a pro fight. These guys here, my teammates, my third pro fight, I got to I had a title shot, my third pro fight for reality fighting out of at Mohegan Sun. I fought for the title, and I didn't win, but I've had some injuries, not even fighting related. I got into a car accident, and we thought my career was over. Injured my neck, and pretty much from my last amateur fight and all my pro fights, I've been on borrowed time. So that's kind of, I'm just operating on borrowed time. That's so it's all a gift. Every fight that I have from now on is a gift.